Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report Built in Buffalo postgame show brought to you by PLB Sports and Entertainment, the makers of Josh's Jacks, the JA17 line of coffee, and the Diggs 14 line of hot sauces. Everybody, welcome and enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Red Zone post game. Yo, let me see if my mic came back because for some reason it just clocked out on me. Let's see. 1 second, technical difficulty. Let me go ahead and boom, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome to the Built in Buffalo post-game show right here on the Redzone Report. Today is just me, my buddy Akeem. He could not make it. He had to go to work. He got called in. So here we are, me and you guys. And Miss Nancy, Mafia Montage Mama, right here. Thank you very much, ma'am, for gracing me with your presence. And thank you so much also for a wonderful time we met. We went to Buffalo, me, you, Lance, and all the guys that built in Buffalo that were there for the red and blue, the return of the red and blue. My man Jacob Spears. Check out his channel, Spears Bills Talk on YouTube. Check him out. We got Let's Talk 716. Robbie's in the house. Let's go, Buffalo. Hit that like and subscribe, everybody. We love it, and we love having you guys here with us. Now, today is the second blowout in a row win for the Buffalo Bills. Second in a row. Our second game where we won by at least 3 scores. Today we won by 5 scores. Yeah, it was a rough one for the for the Commanders, and yeah, I'm just very elated. I'm trying to hold my emotions in and not blow up on here. And I know I'm gonna eventually in the show let it out, but guys, we went out there and we dropped a bad one on them. We dropped a bad one and we beat them 37-3 in Washington on that bad field after a tropical storm. The Bills went into town and they cleaned up. This defense was unrelenting. The defense, 9 sacks on the quarterback. Okay, we didn't have any going into this game. We had 9 sacks. Actually, we did. We had some sacks against the Jets. We had none last week. 0. 9 today. It was a beautiful thing. We have possibly the AFC Defensive Player of the Week coming from the Buffalo Bills. Last week we had the AFC Offensive Player of the Week in Josh Allen. This week is probably going to be Tua. Let's be real. He had an outstanding game against the Broncos. That game was not even watchable unless you're a Dolphins fan, okay? If you're not a Dolphins fan or you're just not a fan of blowouts, then you didn't care. You were just like, woof, all right, that's ugly. There was a point where it was 56-13, and I looked at that game and I said, oh, that's a nice final score. And then I saw there was like 10 minutes left, and I was like, oh, okay. That's rough for the Broncos, who suck. So there's that. Let's see. I wouldn't say that. All right. I thought Sam Howell was a bit better than that. Guess I was wrong. Maybe this defense is better than you thought. Maybe that's it. You know, like the Bills' defense has been getting crap all off season and into the season until last week, and it was like, all right, what's the Raiders? Let's see what we do next week against Commanders, who stood toe to toe with the Broncos last week. And like, people were doubting how the Bills was going to beat the Commanders. Their D line's really good, and I was like, I don't care. Their secondary and their linebackers are suspect as can be, and this team should eat against them. I thought it was going to be Josh, really eating, but James Cook almost had another 100-yard game. He had 97 yards. Very efficient with the run game, and again, the defense was just unrelenting. It was a beautiful thing to watch. We got some scary cats in the Mafia. That 70 got them shook. Nah. We're not worried about the Dolphins. Next week is the proverbial, immovable object versus the unstoppable force. The only problem is that the Bills' offense is pretty stout too. And the Dolphins, I'm guessing this is a Dolphins fan, the Dolphins have not played any team with any good defense. Now, the Bills haven't played a really good defense other than the Jets, but the defensive line of the Commanders was number one in the NFL until today. Now they're probably not going to be number one in the NFL, the defensive line specifically. And you know what? I'm all for it. I don't really care. We'll see what the Dolphins are about next week when you come to Buffalo and we serve that butt up right there for you. But it is what it is. Oh, now I'm Bills Mafia. Okay, so just the way you phrased that sounded like it was coming from a Dolphins fan. So maybe you're being sarcastic, like the Dolphins fans. They're all feeling themselves right now. They can eat it. So let's go Bills. I'm with you there. That had to be sarcasm then. I must have read it wrong, but let's go Bills, man. Today's for us is about the Bills. That's 2 blowouts in a row, right? We didn't play, the Broncos, whose whole team is trash. We almost shut out a team. They had to, get us in garbage time when our backup defenders were on the field, and their starting offense was still out there, and they still couldn't get in the end zone. So let's go Bills. Let's serve them up, and we'll be eating on some dolphin sushi next week. But that's my smack talk right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and let that be what it is. Bills versus Commanders. Man, this game was tough for the Commanders. Buffalo went out there. Josh Allen, 20 of 32, 218, the touchdown, and then the stupid interception he threw that was a freaking punt, basically, right? I don't like that because, like Josh said, it involves momentum, and he got a little crazy there. The Bills were cooking, basically, and they didn't allow a point until the last drive of the game for the Commanders. But still, like, it leaves a little sour taste in your mouth because he had that 4-turnover game against the Jets. And then now against the Commanders, we're expected to go out there and serve them up clean. And we should have beat them worse than we did. But you know what? 37-3 is nothing to complain about. I'm all for that. If we beat them 34-0, I'd have been fine, But, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He didn't get sacked a single time. He was under arrest a few times, and he intelligently threw the ball away. James Cook, 15 carries, 98 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. He couldn't get his touchdown at the end. I really wanted him to get that touchdown at the end because, he really earned that. Josh had 3 carries, 46 yards. Latavius Murray, 5 for 15 and a touchdown. Damian Harris, 5 for 15. It was just a drubbing by the Buffalo Bills. Stephon Diggs, another game with over 100 yards. He had 8 receptions for 111 yards. No touchdown, though. Gabe Davis, 1 catch for 35 yards, targeted 4 times. He had a drop, and then one where he was out of bounds, and then the other one, I don't remember, must have just missed him. But 1 for 35 yards and a touchdown. Trent Sherfield finally got some action today. 2 catches, 18 yards. Deontay Hardy, 2 catches for 15. James Cook, 2 for 14. Knox, 1 for 11. Like, it was everybody seeing the ball again. Even Khalil Shakir had an appearance. Dalton Kincaid only had 2 catches for 3 yards, but sometimes the ball doesn't go your way. It is what it is. But the Bills' defense was out there eating. Got more than 1 catch. Yeah, he got 2. They couldn't find the end zone with a GPS. Yeah, you're right. They couldn't. Look, and you don't even need a GPS. You can see it, but, yeah, if you pinged it on your iPhone, which I'm a Samsung guy, but if you pinged it with your iPhone, drop the ping, they still couldn't find it. Still couldn't get there. See, Josh turned it over, or Josh turned it over every other week. We gotta live with it. It is what it is. Yeah, you're right. Josh is gonna be a guy who's gonna throw some interceptions, and he's like Brett Favre, and Brett Favre got a Super Bowl. So here we go. Let's go Bills. And next comment, go Bills. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now let's go ahead and go into the defense for the Bills, because Terrell Bernard, the first player since Brian Urlacher in 2007 to have a game with 2 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. This man is probably going to be the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. This whole offseason, we were giving Brandon Beane crap about how he let Tremaine Edmonds go, re-signed Ed Oliver, and then we're rolling with Terrell Bernard. And the decision looks good now. It looks excellent now. He also had 7 total tackles, 5 of them solo, and 2 tackles for a loss. Like, come on now. Terrell Bernard's looking like something special. He's looking like something special, and I'm so glad that he made the decision, even though we all might not have been glad when it happened. And so the Bills just went out there. They handled business. Terrell Bernard looks like another Matt Milano out there, but in the middle of the field, so he seems to be getting these opportunities. And that interception, he went up and got it. Terrell Bernard went up and got that interception. That wasn't an easy one. I mean, you could say it was easy because it was kind of like right in his lane, but he had to go up for it. And then AJ Epinesa with a sack and an interception for a touchdown. Like, what is this Bills team doing? I like this name here in the comments. Said, what's up? Hey, Bill I Am. Let's go. Bill I Am as well. Let's go. Let's go. It was a beautiful game by the Bills. There were a few calls on offense that I didn't like. I never liked seeing Deontay Hardy run the ball. I'm sorry. I know some people are like, end rounds are necessary. No, they're not. I don't think they are. Maybe if you're trying to fool somebody, but it shouldn't be a regular routine thing you do every week. I just wish they would stop with the Deontay Hardy runs. I like him as a receiver. Throw him the ball. But on the defense as well, Micah Hyde. People have been saying the safeties look slow. Micah Hyde with an interception today. People saying, Tre'Davious White probably isn't going to be the same guy again. Well, Tre'Davious White balled out. He balled out. Got the interception, made a read. It was a double move to the outside. Tre'Davious White read it the whole way, ended up riding that guy on the outside, and then jumped the route in the end zone, but fell at the 1-yard line. Beautiful play. Let's freaking go. Let's go. So we might have won, but to me, the play calls looked terrible. There was a couple of them that didn't look great. There was a couple of play calls that weren't great, but for the most part, the game was called well. Sometimes you're going to have a game where a defense just fools you or just doesn't cooperate with your game plan. And this, I think, was one of those. I thought Dorsey called a very good game. See, I watched some of the Chicago game, and I'm glad Beane didn't pay Edmonds $18 million. You and me both. I saw his PFF grade, and for some reason, his run defense grade has gone up, but his coverage grade has dropped through the floor. It's crazy, man. Terrell Bernard is shutting fans up. You are so correct, my friend. You right. Terrell Bernard is going out there and balling out. I expect his PFF grade to go up this week, and I expect him to win Defensive Player of the Week for the AFC. Let's go. Super Bowl, maybe it's week 3. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a nice, tough test against the Dolphins next week, who put up 70 on the Broncos. I know it's the Broncos, but it's still 70 points. But for some reason, they kept Tua out there. It's a little weird to me. If you're up 56, to 13 with 10 minutes left or 9 minutes left, and your starting quarterback is still out there, for what? That's unsportsmanlike, and you're still putting him at risk. If somebody wants to take a cheap shot on him because they're being embarrassed and you want to keep pouring it on, somebody might say, well, I'm going to make you pay for that, and then take him out. Was not ideal. He almost felt sorry. I kind of did feel sorry for him. I'll be real. Hi. What's up, man? Ron? Ken Dorsey is not a good OC to me. I disagree, but you're entitled to your opinion. I hope he proves you wrong because I'm sure you'd rather be wrong about this than to be right and upset. Like my man Dale said earlier today, talking in group chats with Bills Mafia International, he was telling me, hey, I was wrong about Terrell Bernard, but I'm glad to be wrong and happy than right and sad. So I'm hoping that this is what happens for you this year with Ken Dorsey. Sean McDermott has the defense balling. Yes, he does, and it's way more aggressive, just like it was in Carolina. They're rushing the passer. They're blitzing more. Linebackers are shooting holes. They're filling passing lanes. They're filling run gaps. The instincts of Terrell Bernard are clear and obvious, and he trusts them. And even if he's wrong, he still follows through with his assignment. I really like what Terrell Bernard is doing, and I really like how Sean McDermott is using him. Lining up Gabe in his normal blocking position and then handing the ball off to him was a ridiculous play. I agree. There were some duds here and there, and I don't remember all the plays, partially because my internet cut out. So, I have, I watch my games online. I don't use cable. I watch them online. Whether it's Sunday Ticket with YouTube or whatever service you may have. If you got no internet, you got no game. And so, there was a good stretch of that third quarter that I missed because, no internet service. I couldn't do anything. I was upset. I would love to be wrong, believe me, about Dorsey. I think you are wrong because the way I'm seeing it is different. But, we're winning games. We're winning games. We're putting up points, 37 points. That we put up 30 on offense and we put up 7 on defense. Let's go. Mahomes got hurt. Well, I hope Mahomes recovers fully. I don't ever want to see Mahomes or any other player get hurt unless they're a scumbag like Vontae's Burfict when Juju Smith-Schuster took him out. It's the only time I was ever happy to see somebody injured because he's the only player I truly remember hurting people on purpose. So, nah. But I hope Mahomes speedy recovery. He's not a bad guy. His brother's a douche, but it is what it is. See, when both sides of the ball play like that, we're unbeatable. I couldn't agree more. On fourth down, Josh was smart most of the time. On third down, he wasn't. But I take the victory, 30-point victory or 34-point victory. I'm taking that every time. I don't care. See, I watch my games with rooftop antenna. Well, you live in Buffalo, man. I live in North Carolina. So I gotta either go to a bar, YouTube TV with Sunday Ticket, or if I don't want to be legal, then nefarious means are required for that. And I try not to do that type of thing because I try to be as honest a person as I can. So there's that. If Dallas going to lose, I hope they lose. I hope they lose to the Cardinals, too. That's crazy. See, who else is done with this Hardy experiment? He looks like a poor man's McKenzie, but isn't getting paid like one. The gadget play seems like a useless gimmick in this offense. I agree with this halfway. And I say halfway because I want to see him run more routes. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. I don't know if you just got here or if you saw it and was just like, I need to type something out and phrase it. But I'm tired of seeing Hardy run the ball. Stop running the ball with Deontay Hardy. He's not a running back. He's a 150-pound wide receiver who's 5'6". He might be 160, 170. I don't know. I don't care. But he's still not big at all. And one of these days, they're gonna kill him dead. They're gonna squish him on the field. Some 300-pound man is gonna fall on him. And I don't like the idea of putting somebody in a position where they're gonna get hurt because that's what happens to running backs is they get hurt a lot. That's why you don't see them getting paid anymore. And to have like a 160, 170-pound guy running the ball up to stop it. That's not what he's here for. He's here to run routes. He had a couple of nice routes today, and he didn't get the ball thrown to him because there were other options. But I don't like that. I don't like the end arounds. I've never really been a jet sweep end around kind of guy. To me, that seems like a desperate tactic from teams. I don't like them. So just getting here, okay, I assume correctly. See, Matt had quite a game. Milano, you talking about Milano? If you mean Milano, Matt Milano had a good game, but he didn't make any splash plays because Terrell Bernard kept stealing them. I'm just messing. I don't care who gets the splash plays, whether it's Milano or like today when it was Ed Oliver getting sacks, Leonard Floyd getting 2 back-to-back sacks. Epinesa getting a sack and a pick six. I don't care who gets it. Get it. This is a team sport, right? There's plenty of that to go around, especially when you play the Commanders, apparently, because we had 9 sacks and we had 5 turnovers. Let's go. My man Joseph comes in here. What's up, Izzy? Let's go. That's Dorsey for you. I look with this specific thing that I'm talking about, with the end arounds and the jet sweeps. I can't disagree with you. I hate those types of plays. To me, they seem desperate. I don't like them. And I think as the season goes on, he'll find better ways to use these guys. And, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of mouths to feed. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Trent Sherfield, Deontay Hardy, Khalil Shakir. Those are all the guys not named Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, whose primary job is to catch passes, right? Then you got your running backs. You have your James Cooks out there, who James Cook had a pretty solid day. Again, he had the 15 carries for 98 yards, 6.5 per carry. Then he had 2 catches for 14 more yards. That's over 115 yards. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's over 110 yards from scrimmage. It's 112 total. You've got guys like that on the team who have to also eat. And so because of that, those guys' roles on the team are going to be significantly slowed down. And so I want them to stop doing the end arounds and stuff, but they're still going to keep coming until they find a better way to use them. The defense went off today. You are correct. They did. Dorsey needs to use Hardy better ways. Agreed. I've been hearing all offseason about certain guys earning reps. In my opinion, Hardy hasn't been earning them. While a guy like Shakir has made the most so far with his limited opportunities. Yeah, he had 2 catches and a touchdown so far. I'd say throw him the ball a little bit more, but, that's taking away from Gabe and Diggs, Kincaid, Knox, and Cook. So, Josh only had 20, complete balls today, I think. Yep, 20. And 7 of them were 8 of them to Diggs, 1 to Davis, 2 to Sherfield, 2 to Hardy, 2 to Cook, 1 to Dawson, 1 to Latavius Murray, 1 to Shakir, and 2 to Kincaid. That's spreading the ball out. That's getting everybody fed. Did we try Diggs for kick return? No, absolutely not. No. I was not on board with the hiring of Dorsey. Still on the fence with him, too. I root for him because he's ROC. I mean, you have to. Otherwise, you're rooting against Josh, kind of, No one wants to root against Josh. He's our quarterback. And it looks like the Cardinals have just finished off Dallas. Yeah. Said that. That's weird. But, I'm totally on board with Dorsey's hiring now. Now that I'm seeing the play calls, execution could be better. Some of the play calls could be better, especially in some specific situations. And I think he'll be able to dial that in. But the different looks that this offense is producing now that they have Dalton Kincaid, the 12 personnel, the 13 personnel, and and on certain occasions, 11 personnel. He's still doing the same stuff he did last year for the most part, but he's now added a wrinkle to it with his 12 and 13 personnel looks, where you have Kincaid out there and sometimes Quentin Morris out there with Dawson Knox. Or if you line up Gilliam at tight end, it's technically still 13 personnel, but if you line in the backfield, it's 22 personnel. And so I love the way that he's starting to incorporate these new talents, as Bobby Hall says in the comments here. Love how he's trying to incorporate the new talent as much as he can. And while they're doing that, still not, taking away from Diggs and Davis. Diggs and Davis are still getting their looks. And Davis didn't get a whole lot of looks today because it just wasn't there for him other than that touchdown. But, yeah, man, this defense is just outstanding. I'm so happy with the way this defense is cut out. I'm also so very happy that all 3 AFC East games were 1:00 games because I can talk about all of them here. I can break down the Bills for half this show and look at the rest of the show and give a breakdown of the Jets versus Patriots and breakdown of the Broncos and Dolphins, that ugly-ass game. But, yeah, the Dolphins coming in here next week, I'm not concerned. I think it's going to be a good game. And so, waiting for that. Joseph A. Brereton Jr. says, I cannot wait till Vaughn comes back. Me either. Dude, people were like, man, freaking Floyd wasn't anything until he got to LA. And then he had Vaughn and Aaron Donald. It's like Vaughn was only there for a year. Vaughn was only in LA for a year. Aaron Donald was there, but Vaughn was there for just 1 year. And in the past 3 years with them, he's had 9.5 sacks per year. So I'm not seeing the Vaughn and Aaron Donald. And then now that we have a good one technique next to Ed Oliver can be who we need him to be. And that's enough, especially with Groot on the other side, who's clearly improving game to game. Groot had a sack today. I think everybody had a sack today. I think Oprah was out there giving out sacks. That's what I'm going to name Sam Howell for the rest of the show. Sam Howell is Oprah because everybody got one. Some people got 2. So, yeah. Let's see. I'm at the same place as last year with where I feel about our wide receiver depth behind Diggs. The Davis TD was great, but he has largely shut down. Our non-Diggs wide receivers struggle to separate, in my opinion. They don't struggle to separate as much as I think. I think that a big deal with the receivers is Josh is looking for Diggs. Diggs is his primary guy. And the gap between Diggs and Davis is huge. And then the gap between Davis and everybody else is, not as big as it is from Diggs to Davis, but still a pretty good gap. And so those guys are still good, but they're just not as good as our top guys. And I think that Josh really has to dial in where he's looking and for how long he looks there. But, that's where I'm at with that. Ken Dorsey's still learning. He keeps getting better. I agree. So I pray we put a lick on the fish. Oh, I do too. Look, I'll take a 13-0 shutout. If we can shut them out, I'd like to shut their fans up. Let's go. So personally, I would like to see a little more pre-snap motion and maybe JA under center a bit more. I agree with the under center a little bit more. We see enough pre-snap motion, and I think that it's, I think that there's plenty of that. I think that under center, though, is something that I would like to see more. Last week, he was under center more than usual, and last week was beautiful. So I couldn't agree more with that part. I feel spreading the ball out with receivers has made a huge difference with Diggs getting open. Agreed, because he's not the only target. And even though all the other guys only had, 4 to 5 targets each, it still takes heat off Diggs. What do you think about the Kincaid flag? Whatever. The refs aren't going to get it right every time, so you got to deal with it. See, calm, doorknob, everybody got a turn. Yep. Everybody got, that's messed up. Okay, I got that. That's messed up. Yes, sir, is. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here, too. Said agreed, Mikey. Mikey, yeah. Yep. Miss Nancy in the house still. Love to see that you're still watching the show and that you're not just popping up on me. I love that you're here. That is the mother of our own Mafia Montage, Lance Nelson. That's Mama Nelson. So much love to her. She is a wonderful person that I met in person, for the red and blue scrimmage, and she's a very nice lady, very, very nice lady. So much love to her and her family. Also got to meet his son. He was only like 3, but kid sharp as a whip. Now, the rest of the AFC East we'll get into now, right? Because I've already said enough about the Bills. All the sacks, all the interceptions, all the fumble recoveries, turnovers, whatever you want to call them. Mix them all up, throw them in the bag. Doesn't matter. They didn't run the ball that great either. They had 105 total yards rushing. Brian Robinson was their most effective runner, 7 yards. Sam Howell had that nice 18-yard run. Antonio Gibson had 2 for 17. Their efficiency on the ground was good, but they got into such a big hole that they couldn't afford to run the ball anymore. As Nancy says, thanks, Izzy. Hello to your family as well. Thank you very much. I'll make sure I let them know. Our middle linebacker went from a weakness to an asset. Miami's offense scares me. They don't scare me. They played the – okay. So let's look at the Dolphins real quick, right? Well, we'll get into them in a minute. We'll get into AFC East in a minute. So Josh had good protection in the pocket today, and Gabe only managed one catch as the number 2 guy. I think he should do better. I agree. Everybody's going to have a down day. Hopefully that's what this was for him because he should do better. He had targeted 5 times. One of them he couldn't get his foot in bounds. I understand because the guy was kind of reaching for the ball, and he had to kind of prop the ball up with his thigh and then couldn't get the foot down in bounds. I get that one. The drop, though, was bad. So our defense should be good against Miami. Our defense should be good against anybody in the NFL. I'm with you. Let's go. Now, let's get to these Dolphins. All right? They beat the Broncos 70-20. That is NCAA/Madden numbers. Tua threw 23 of 38 for 23 of 26 for 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, was not sacked once, QBR of 88.6, and passer rating of 155.8, excuse me. Then Mike White goes in there in the last drive or whatever they scored. 2 of 2, 67 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, QBR of 100, and passer rating of 158.3. The Broncos freaking suck. Devon Achane had 18 carries for 203 yards, 11.3 per carry, 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert, 13 for 82, 6.3, 3 touchdowns. Chris Brooks, 9 for 66, 7.3 yards per carry. Alec Ingold had 2 carries, no yards. And then Mike White had 1 carry, -1 yards. They put up 350 yards on the ground. They put up 376 through the air. This was not the sign of a great Dolphins team putting up numbers against some outstanding team. This is the Miami Dolphins playing the worst team in the NFL and smoking them. Like I smoked my brisket today, because I did. I smoked the brisket today. It was glorious. This game was an absolute whooping of a team that doesn't look like they belong in the NFL. And Sean Payton was talking all that junk in the preseason about Nate Hackett, this, worst coaching, this, that, and the third. And look what you're doing, my friend. Look what you're doing. Got the guys out there looking like a bunch of bums. Russell Wilson threw for 306 yards, just 3 yards less than Tua did. But 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked once. The big deal here is the running. Javonte Williams, 11 for 42. Jaleel McLaughlin, 5 for 15. Samaje Perine, 3 for 9. Marvin Mims Jr., 1 for 3. It just wasn't good. They were not balanced on offense. They didn't have a chance. Cortland Sutton had a good game. Jerry Jeudy had a good game. But, man, they got smoked so bad. It was horrible. And that's not even the Dolphins, I mean, good for them. I don't want to sound like a hater because I am a hater. To hell with the Dolphins, right? To heck with the Dolphins. I don't care for them at all. So, forget them. But if you look at their schedule, they beat the Chargers, who got their first win today. They beat the Patriots, who got their first win today. And then they beat the Broncos, who are winless. Right? Their opponents are 2-4, or 2-7. That's crazy. The Chargers got to win. Patriots got to win. 2 losses. 3 losses for the Broncos. That's 2-5. My math is way off. I am brain farting like crazy right now. Georgia could beat the Broncos. I don't doubt it. I bet you there's other teams that could beat them. I'm willing to bet that the Oregon Ducks would beat them. The Broncos are horrible. So Miami's speed could be an issue. All the other pass catchers not named Diggs are going to need to step up next week. The Dolphins' defense isn't that good. They're just not that good. The Broncos put up 20 on them. I think we put up way more than 20. The Chargers put up 34 on them. The Patriots put up 17 on them. I don't know. I don't see it. They don't have Jalen Ramsey. They haven't played a good offense this year, except for the Chargers. And the Chargers put up 34. The one good offense they played almost beat them. But that team is so terribly coached that there's nothing that you can do with them. It's a poor Denver team, nothing to compare anything in the NFL. Nothing. They might go winless. One of my buddies texted me. He said, yo, someone in Denver is going to get fired. I'm like, the owner should get fired. That's horrible. It's horrible. So I didn't smoke a brisket, but, okay, calm down. Said, I can't stand the Dolphins coach. I can't either. The level of ego you have to keep your starting quarterback out there once you're up 56-13 is ridiculous. We were up freaking, what was it, 23? Then Epinesa smacks that ball up, catches it, and takes it to the house for an interception touchdown. After the pick six, they sat Josh down. There was plenty of time left in that game. They're like, we're done here. We're done here. We're not going to risk our starting quarterback out there. To me, the Dolphins are a little bit overhyped. Maybe they wanted to get some momentum before they come to Buffalo next week. Maybe they need it. I don't know. But, man, let's also not forget Josh's rushing touchdown. But, like, it's I don't know. To me, this just feels overhyped. Feels overhyped. Here's another statistic for you. The Miami Dolphins playing against all those horrible defenses they played, except for the Patriots. That defense is pretty good. But the Chargers defense sucks. The Broncos defense sucks. They have 130 points for, but they have 71 points against. The Bills have 91 points for, 35 points against. We're allowing half the points, but we're not 50% points behind in points for. The Dolphins beat a top 5 defense this week. The first one they faced all year. And it's going to be a problem. They're going to have a problem. Miami is not going to do what they did to Denver. No, not even close. Not even close. Look what Denver gave up to get Sean Payton. Yeah, waste of resources. Just we definitely need to win in our division, period, for real. No, I agree. And I think we get it. I'm almost positive we get it. You know, we're really good against the Dolphins. I got NFL Redzone on over here, looking at it, just seeing all the results. Man, it's crazy. The Dolphins to me are a paper tiger. That's the way I see it. And is there some hate in that? You're damn right there is. You're damn right there is. I really was happy to see Josh playing smarter football today. It's about time. Yeah, last week he played really smart football. Today he played smart football. The Jets game, dumbass football. Today, super smart. Keep it up. Keep rocking with it. Again, the Commanders' defense, much better than the Raiders' defense. They have one of the better old D-lines in football, and we got to deal with that. We good next week. You're damn right we good next week. You're right. I think our defense has given up just 2 touchdowns so far. Yes, and they're both through the air. We have yet to give up a rushing touchdown. 0 rushing touchdowns against Buffalo. So put that in perspective. They're going to have to run the ball against us. It's not going to be easy. Buffalo's defense is stout. Again, only allowing 35 points to opposing teams. And I think that 7 of those points was actually the punt return for the Jets. So it's 28 points all year for the defense. What's up? No sit down on Thursday past few weeks. So we are working on something with the sit down. Anthony is no longer with Built in Buffalo. Sauce God. We love Sauce God, but he had to deal with some things on his own. I'm not sure what exactly they were, but I'm sure that if he wants to come back, that we'd probably be glad to have him back. He's very good at this, very exciting guy to talk to, and I kind of miss him being with the brand, but I'm not sure what he's doing right now. I do know he's working. He just got a new job, so good for him, and maybe that's what caused this. But I'm very happy for him. If he's doing good, then I'm glad he's blessed. Yeah, I know that. I know that Anthony's no longer with the channel, and that they're looking to fill that slot. Well, that blows. But I mean, it does and it doesn't because he's moving ahead in life. With the new job and all, and if that's what it is, because I didn't get explained to why he's moving on, but we didn't kick him out. He chose to leave for whatever personal reasons, and if he wants to come back, I'd welcome him back. But I don't run this here, so I'm just part of the team. You and AR are my faves to listen to. Thank you, Bobby. A-Rich was supposed to be on me today, but he got called into work, and so because of that, I had to do it by myself. So here I am. I did all these last year by myself too. I was supposed to have a little help last year, but life happens. So when I have a guest, I'm happy to have him, and if I don't, then solo is the road I chose. Now, let's go ahead and get into that two birds with one stone game: the Patriots versus the Jets. This was a snooze fest if you don't like defense. If you don't like defense, this game was horrible. Throat's getting a bit dry. Mac Jones, 15-29 for 201, just over 50%, one touchdown, no interception. Was not sacked a single time, which is a surprise to me. I'm guessing he played smart football. Threw it away when he needed to throw it away and took what they gave him. And the Jets defense doesn't give you much. Zach Wilson, 18 of 36, 50%, for 157, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was chased and hurried all game. Ezekiel Elliott had a pretty nice game, 16 for 80, 5 yards a carry. Ramondre Stevenson, 19 for 59, 3.1 per carry. This game just sucked. Dalvin Cook was the leading rusher for the Jets, technically. Him and Breece Hall both had 18 yards, but Cook had it on 8 carries for 2.3 yards per carry, and Breece Hall had on 12 carries for 1.5 yards per carry. Game sucked. Okay, it was a horrible game. Garrett Wilson under 50 yards. The leading receiver for the Patriots was Pharaoh Brown. Never heard of him. Good for him, though. I don't want to crap on anybody's success, but good for him. Having a good game. He had 2 receptions for 71 yards. It's not a great game because there's only 2 receptions, but 71 yards and a tutty. I'll take it. If that's his breakout performance or whatever you want to call it. Cool. Defense was the story of this game, for sure. Freaking the Patriots. They had 3 sacks and 7 tackles for a loss. 5 pass defense. And 7 QB hits. The Jets, they had 0 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 4 passes defense, and 5 QB hits. Not a whole lot going on. All defense. There's not enough to talk about here, guys. It was 13-3, and then they got a safety, and then the Jets scored a touchdown and bring it to like 15-10, and then they couldn't move the ball anymore. It was a sad game to watch. See, I miss having a banter with your old co-host. Is he my old one, Charlie? Charlie, way back when I first came to Built in Buffalo. I do miss Charlie sometimes because he and I genuinely disagreed with each other, even though I really like Charlie. We disagreed on Matt Milano. He didn't think Matt Milano was that good. And he didn't think Trey White was that athletic. And I was like, I saw Tre'Davious White's RAS score, so I got to concede that one to Charlie. His RAS score isn't that high. But he was totally wrong about Matt Milano. We're talking about first team all-pro, top 3 linebackers in the NFL last year, Matt Milano. He's looking like that again this year. But so's Terrell Bernard, damn it. Terrell Bernard looks awesome. Let's go. Today's about Terrell Bernard. Izzy, you are fun to listen to, and I think the Bills will put up a good fight and come away with a win next week. I think Josh needs to not play hero ball at times. Yeah, no, you're right about that. He needs to not play hero ball at all unless the game is on the line and you really need this play. Hero ball should be like behind you. And he had a couple plays with hero ball today where they worked out. But they don't always work out. Those are 50-50s, man. I need you to save those 50-50s for when we really need it, right? I need you to tone it down, Josh. And he did for the most part today. Very glad that he did. Charlie. So Charlie, when Charlie left Built in Buffalo, he left because he has a analytics company he runs. I believe it's called TTP Analytics. So look him up on Twitter. That right there, because of all the research and work he has to put in, which is outstanding. Charlie is outstanding. With all of the work he had to put in on that, dealing with all the players coming into the NFL from the draft, and then dealing with some NFL players currently, he had a lot on his plate being here with Built in Buffalo doing the Redzone Report with me. And so when he left, I understood completely because he really, really, really had a lot on his plate. And then being here with me was, just something that he couldn't really bear anymore because of all that weight on his plate or all that weight on his shoulders. So when he went out there, he still got a ton of weight on his shoulders doing that job. Doing what he's doing, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. So, shout outs to Charlie. Still love you, buddy. Take care of yourself. Yeah, agreed. Just needs to always take what the defense gives you. Yeah, always take what they give you unless you absolutely positively need more. If it's 4th and 10, fourth quarter, 60 seconds left to go, you only got one timeout, and you're down by 4, fine. Hero ball it up. Do what you got to do. Like that Colts game in the playoffs where he was hero balling it up and Gabe Davis was sideline catching everything. There's a time and a place for it. Right? I don't want to say don't ever do it, but I also want you to not do it on 3rd and 4, first quarter, up by 3. No. There's plenty of game left to go. Take what you got and allow the punt team to go out there and do their job. That's what you have them for. Let them do their freaking job. Now that we've done with the Dolphins and the Jets stinkfest, because the Dolphins, it was a stinkfest going one direction, and then the Patriots and the Jets. And I know my guy over at the AFC East Roundtable, Master at Work, will be happy to rub it in Richie's face that the Jets still haven't beaten the Patriots in 9.5 years because there's only one more time they'll play this year. And if they lose again, that's 10 years. And so, personally, I don't care about that rivalry. Heck with both of them. I don't care who wins. That actually kind of helped the Bills. If the Jets would have won, they would have been ahead of us in the AFC East. So, kind of glad the Patriots won. Ugh, that tasted gross coming out of my mouth. Ugh, like vomit. Ugh. Ugh. But what doesn't taste like vomit is the Jets lost. And what also doesn't taste like vomit is Bills won. So let's go through all the scores in the NFL. We'll just to take a look at them before we sign out here. Because, guys, it has been a day. As you can hear, I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. And it's because I was yelling so much in the game. Whew. I was yelling so much in the game. I'm probably going to pull up some stats, too, a little later, like PFF scores. If they're up already. If they're not, then we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that website already just so I can have it ready. Well, Bernard. God, Joe Marino starting to rub off on me a little bit. Bernard. Let's see. They updated it. Nope, not yet. Okay. So PFF will have to wait till next week. All good, though. Not worried. So, of course, we all know the Bills played the Commanders today and beat them in their house 37-3. Tonight, the Steelers played the Raiders. I'll be watching that probably as I wind my evening down. The Seahawks beat the Panthers in Seattle 37-27. The Browns beat the Titans to go move to 2-1, 2-0 at home, 27-3. The Falcons lost to the Lions, which aggravates me. I would have lost my parlay anyway because Josh didn't throw for more than 252. But, I also had the Falcons running back Bijan Robinson and wide receiver Drake London in the parlay. I thought they were going to do pretty good against the Lions. They did not. They lost 20-6. Then the Saints, who were beating the Packers the whole game, the Packers come back to beat them 18-7. I mean, it was 17-0 at half, 17-0 at the end of the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, the Packers put up 18 points. Jordan Love with a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown. He just decided, you know what? These bums don't want to catch the freaking ball. fine. Don't catch the ball. I'll do it myself. And Jordan Love took over that game. That's a guy right there who isn't getting enough credit, I don't think. I don't think he's getting enough credit for his time in the NFL. And I'm going to come back to the team, don't worry, guys, to see your comments and deal with that stuff too. So don't go anywhere. But I'm just going over the scores, man. And so what I thought about some of these games, because I had 3 screens going. I kid you not. I have my big screen, which I'm talking to you guys on right now. I've got my, which is a 55-inch. I have a 50-inch right there. And I got a 30-inch over here on the side with Redzone playing. So I had football all over the place. Now, after that Packers-Saints game was the absolute drubbing of the Broncos by the Dolphins, 70-20. We already talked about that. Don't need to say no more. The Chargers and the Vikings. Someone's O has got to go. In Minnesota, the Chargers go out there and beat them 28-24. Last play of the game was an interception, tipped up by the linebacker and picked off to seal the deal. T.J. Hawkinson was the receiver that was targeted in that play, and he could not get there. Was a solid game from what I saw on Red Zone, but is what it is. Patriots and the Jets 15-10. The Texans, woo! Wow, who'd have seen this coming? The Texans lose their O to the Jaguars, beating them 37-17 in Jacksonville. 37-17 Texans in Jacksonville. C.J. Stroud at 280 yards passing, plus 2 touchdowns. Man, Tank Dell came through real big for the Texans. Tank Dell from the University of Houston, if I'm correct. 5 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Man, oh man. The Texans went out there and balled out. And they were up 17-0 at half. Third quarter ended. It was 24-10. And they didn't need to score anymore, but they did. They scored 13 more points. The Colts handing the Ravens their first loss and moving on to 2-0 themselves in Baltimore, 22-19. They went to overtime. The Colts got the ball. Gave it up to the Ravens. The Ravens got the ball. Gave it back up to the Colts. Colts take it down. There was a suspect pass interference against the Colts that was not called. Linebacker, interfering with Zay Flowers. It was not called. It probably should have been called. And that gave Gardner Minshew the ability to take the ball downfield, set up Matt Gay for the finishing field goal, and they win at 22-19 in Baltimore. Then the evening slate of games, the Bears went to Kansas City. Don't know why they even left because they're terrible. They're the only team that I could compare the Browns or the Broncos to right now. They lost 41-10. Horrible game. Mahomes threw 3 touchdowns in that game, 272 yards. Isaiah Pacheco had 15 carries, 62 yards, 1 touchdown. And Kelsey had 7 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. They absolutely beat the Bears down, but so is everybody else, so it's expected. I wouldn't have been surprised if that score was similar to the Dolphins Broncos, but you know what? I guess the Bears just aren't that bad. That and Mahomes doesn't have as many weapons as he used to have. And then the Cardinals hosting the Cowboys, beating them 28-16. Let's freaking go. Cardinals, freaking Josh Dobbs went out there and handled business. The Cardinals all had the Cowboys had the better statistics offensively, but they couldn't get the ball in the end zone but one time. And the Cardinals kicked a whole lot of field goals, like a lot. Like it was 9 points in the first quarter, 12 points in the second quarter, and then 7 points in the fourth. They got field goal to death. And then, of course, Thursday night game was 12-30, and then the Eagles play the Bucks. Someone's always got to go, 2-0 in Tampa. And then the Bengals and the Rams face off from a year before last, Super Bowl rematch. In Cincinnati, I got a feeling that the Rams are going to beat them because Burrow's hurt. It has been a day. Now, we got some comments out here. Bernard has good chances to win D Player of the Week. Agreed. I said that earlier. Should we start calling him St. Bernard? Nah, man. Nah, I got a different name for him, man, because the freaking Skins or the Commanders, they had a weekend at Bernie's, didn't they? Yes, they did. They had a weekend at Bernie's. Let's go, CJ. Yes, CJ Stroud had a good day. Good for him. It's a good game all around. It was an excellent game all around. See, Terrell is going to be a factor in the Dolphins game. He is, and here's the reason why. Terrell Bernard, and I know you're not here anymore. You said you're out. Terrell Bernard is a linebacker, a lot like Matt Milano, the style of play, but he's faster. Matt Milano's a 4.6 guy. Terrell Bernard ran a 4.42. Terrell Bernard is as fast as a lot of corners in the NFL. So, yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Terrell Bernard is gonna be a factor, and I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. But guys, it is come to the conclusion of my show. Let's go Buffalo. The NFL is a crazy place this week. Go Bills, and I'll see you guys next week. God bless and go Bills.